Hey guys, this is my second attempt tonight. I did an entire video and then tried to play it and it was silent. So this is round two. Hopefully I can get it right this time. I wanted to give a little caveat video, so to speak, of yesterday's talk, because this one subject here has been, just in the last 6 months, has really intensified my ability to begin to bring some change into my into the limitations that I have really had the hardest time with in life. And all our limitations really have to do with just their emotional barriers, right? There's certain things that just really set us off, that gets our self-talk running. It gets our attention, and then once it has our attention, it sucks us into this big monster, and it just runs off without us, you know, whether we want it to or not. It's like so that's what we're really talking about when we're talking about stimulus and response. So here's what I'd like to say. How many of you have heard in your life from someone like a coach or a teacher or a parent, you know, just focus, concentrate, right? We've all heard that command many times, but I have never in my life been told how to do that. You're just supposed to be able to intuit its meaning and give your focus to things. And you know, and in certain situations you certainly can, you know, in a sport or just if you're needing to study or something, you can, you bring your attention back, you focus, you get the job done. But the bigger story here is a real understanding as to what some of our issues are when we're talking about stimulus and response. Now, yesterday I was talking about between stimulus and response is choice. Now, what that space is, though, is called self-awareness. That's what that space is, and we all have it. The problem is that stimulus response loop can be so fast, because you've been through this so many times unconsciously, unaware, and you've done it so many times, you've responded in this same way so many times, that it's so blazoned upon your entire body, and you know, the ruts are so strong within your mind, so to speak, that you don't need that little momentary choice in between the two is just nearly non-existent, to the degree that you don't even have a choice. And so the first thing you have to do, though, is understand it is there. You know, I'm not a stimulus response being. I'm not an animal. I'm not a Pavlov's dog. I get to choose. And as soon as that thought comes and you begin to exercise that truth, then a little bit of space will start showing up, because you're becoming aware. See, that understanding of who you are and how you're made is what the beginnings of awareness are. And once awareness begins to creep up into your thinking, see, that's the power of the mind. Then you start seeing how you become aware that there is a choice in there. I do get to choose, even though it may be extremely difficult to make those choices in the beginning. So what I wanted to talk about tonight, just as a caveat, a little side issue that's been such a big deal, is an understanding of how the mind works and how to stop being so controlled by stimulus response loops. And how do you get that choice in there in a larger measure, to where you really get to stop and think about where you're going to go with a certain stimulus, how you're going to respond. I've heard it said also that event plus response equals outcome. And you know, it's the people that really get a hold on that are able to begin to kind of climb the rung there of influence and begin to do well in certain areas of life, is just not being led around by your emotions. Now, what happens, though, the way that we're created and made, is that the body is a medium. The body is a tent. Okay, it's a fantastic tent. It's incredible in how it's made. But every cell of your body literally has all the memories of your life within it. Each cell, I mean, billions and billions of them. These are encoded with these memories. So when you've got when something happens to you in life that's painful enough or pleasurable enough, however you interpreted that situation in that moment, you know, maybe right or wrong, but however you interpreted it, that gets downloaded as a memory into the cells of your body, okay? And then so let's say you had a traumatic experience with water, and your interpretation is water, bad, stay away. Okay, then you begin to live that way. Like wherever there's water, that's not for me, I'm not going there. See, that same emotion rises up with the information attached to it, and you begin to create a personality out of that. You know, this is what I do. If there's water, I'm not involved, right? Now you live 30 years like that, that gets so ingrained within the body. See, the body, that's what the body knows about us. It's been downloaded and it's been repeated so many times on a stimulus response loop that the body's not asking questions anymore. It knows, and the body will lead you. Now, when the mind becomes the body in such a way that all the lies are tainted, or all the memories are tainted with a lie, it's just not quite right, it's not true, but it's emotionally charged, then you've got some real problems. And see, the real issue is getting in between that stimulus and response and becoming aware. Awareness is where it's at. Okay, so here's the issue, and this is the one thing I'm going to hit real quick, hopefully, and wrap this one up tonight. But we live in a day and age of distraction. I mean, it's the 8-second loop, you know. I've got to have, my attention is diverted all the time. You know, the cell phone, the social media, it's going off at any given moment. I'm ready to drop what I'm doing and grab that. You know, what are the attention grabbers? You know, all of the bells and whistles that are going on all around us, they are training our brain to live a distracted life. Now, the problem with that for people who want to go against the stream, you know, the world is negative. The current of the world is negative. You've grown up in that, and you've sucked in a lot of that, and it has become memory to you. Your body's encoded with it. And that's what you've got to deal with. So we've got to get in between stimulus and response and break that off. Okay, so how do we do that? After we're living in a world of negativity, we're living in a world that's set to distract, and we're practicing distraction all the time. We're practicers, we've perfected it, and that's what our brain does. So if you're trying to be a good Christian and be transformed and be Christ-like, and you're memorizing your scriptures and you're doing all these things, but you're not understanding this stimulus response loop and how memories are encoded with emotion and they're put into your body, and that your body's beginning to lead your life in these certain areas, then you're going to really never get there. I mean, that's been my story. I've been working, trying to understand, persevering, and making changes, yes, and growing, but not at the rate that I knew you could. And so the big thing for me here recently has been an understanding of the word meditation. Meditation is something I've practiced for about 10 years, or I've known about and read about and practiced some, and increasingly I have practiced it more and more and more. So, and the Bible's full of it. David, that's nearly all he talks about is a meditative process, and there's so many words. If it doesn't say meditation in the Bible, it's a meditative process that a word is inferring, you know, like pondering. Something like that. What it means physiologically is that we have brain waves that are normal stages that we deal with on a 24-hour cycle. In our sleep, we're going down from betas, the highest, down into, there's a high beta, a low beta, and then there's alpha, theta, delta. And so you're in your sleep cycle, you're doing that. You're going down and up, down and up, down and up. The restorative sleep, you know, is down at the lowest level there. And then when you get up in the morning and get that first cup of coffee, you get straight into beta, which is basically a fear-based, gotta get it type of thinking. You know, you're on the run, you're you know, doing your thing, and you've shut off the heart then. Then all you're running off is is everything encoded already, all the stuff that's already in there, all the recordings that have already been made and already been filed and are already being used. That's what you're working off of. And unconsciously, see, you're not aware. This has just been set in stone. And so meditation, what meditation does is it begins to train the mind to not be distracted. Now the Bible, there's several things that I do in meditation that are very helpful. One of those is the scripture that let every breath, Psalm 150, let every breath praise the Lord. So something about your breath is that, you know, it's your breathing rhythm is just a rhythm. When you think, when you're consciously aware of your breathing in and you're breathing out, and you're not rushing it, you're letting that rhythm be what it is, and you're just noticing it. You're focusing on your breath. Now what you're doing in that moment, and what I do about it, is that as I breathe in, I'm consciously being aware of the truth that the one that created me is giving me this breath, and he's present right now. I'm even breathing him in. I like to think in terms of all kinds of cool little things that are good pictures for me and that are empowering. And so what I'm doing is I'm thinking about my breath when I'm breathing in, but there's a few seconds in between each breath, and what happens? As soon as you're done thinking about that breath going out, the mind just starts to drift. It just happens. It's just the way that it is. It's the way we're made. We are distracted, and our mind likes to wander. And so the next breath is a few seconds later, you get to refocus on the same thing. One of the things I like to do is use the word Yahweh. You know, it was broken up. The ancient Hebrews used to believe that people were every breath in and out was saying the name of God. They'd say Yod He Vah He, Yod He Vah He. That's how they say the name Yahweh. And what they believed is when a person dies, has he stopped breathing, or has he lost the capacity to say the name of God? It's a pretty cool thought. But anyway, I'll do that in my meditations. I'll think about Yod He Vah He. What am I doing? I'm breathing in. I'm focusing on the present moment, which is really powerful. So you're practicing presence. Presence in your life is where everything happens. Only in the present moment can all the good things happen. And we typically live in the future or in the past, right? And we do. You're either ahead of yourself or you're behind yourself, or a combination of the two. And it's very rare that we actually engage the moment and give ourselves to the people that we're talking with in the moment, and be in the moment with what we need to be doing in the moment, right? We're always wandering. And so a meditative practice on a daily basis is going to train your mind to be able to focus. Now, once you do that for some time and you practice that, and you can do it 5, 10, 20 minutes, something like that. There's different ways that you can meditate, but this is the one that I think should be done just for the health of your brain, to stop being so splintered and stop training yourself in distraction. So then once I practice that in the day, I don't just let that be my fix-all. Then I'm consciously through the day. If I go to my next class is American History, I am in American history. I'm present. I'm doing American history. I'm thinking American history. I'm dealing with the students in that class, and I'm not doing anything else. The next class or the next thing, I'm focusing on something, and I'm doing it ahead of time. I'm saying I'm going to focus on this, and then I give myself as best I can to whatever it is that I'm dealing with in the day. When I come home, I'm wanting to give myself to my children and to my wife. When my kids go to bed and I'm having a conversation with my wife, I want to be giving myself, engaging the moment to her, not being scattered, but being aware that a distracted mind, it can never get there, because you cannot focus it on the good things and take in the good seed and let it then become what it could be in you. You just never do get there. And so all of the teaching and understanding about being created in God's image and understanding the powerful being that we are, if we could have just a new thought and taking personal responsibility and not blaming or complaining, we could receive all of that and say, yes, 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 that's me. But if you got a distracted mind, if you're practiced in distraction, you can forget it. because you will not be able to focus on anything long enough to get it from seed to root to fruit. And those are just the facts. Okay? And so the exciting thing about practicing a meditative process and learning how to open up your heart and live from the heart. See, the Bible says that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. That's an Eastern mindset. Us Westerners, we think from like the Greeks think, which was, head knowledge, intellectualism. There's a split between the head and the heart. We think with the head and we feel with the heart, and we think that we can overpower our feelings with our smartness, our intellectual muscle, and it doesn't happen. It's a lie. It doesn't work. We got to get Western in that regard, and let the mind drop into the heart. That's what the Desert Fathers were trying to do. They wanted the mind to drop into the heart, and that's how they believed that they could pray without ceasing, because their heart would be open at all times to the Lord. And they know that's where all the power's at. That's where all the good thoughts come from, and that's where they know if I can focus on who God is, then God gets bigger in me. Man, that's an exciting thought. So think about that. You're a creator. You're created in the image of God. We are the ones that create. Angels, principalities, darkness, principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, they can't create. All they can do is take what's already been made and twist it. And that's why when somebody says, oh, you can't do that meditation stuff, that's Eastern, Eastern transcendental, blah, blah, blah. Hey, this is our stuff. God created us. He came up with meditation. He knows how we're made. He knows what we've got to do for our own health. That's ours. Don't let the enemy steal what's ours. We've got to walk in these things and reap the benefits of it. So as I have done that in the last 2 years, increasingly, my awareness has dropped. They say the conscious mind is 5% and the rest is 95% the subconscious, which is a portion of the heart. The heart, the inner man's a lot more than that, but that's a big part of it and its inner workings. And my awareness of things has gotten so much clearer. Like I know where certain things came from, and I can stop them and say, you know what, that's a stupid choice. I'm going to choose a different way. I don't have to do that anymore. Because I can just see it's like catching a thief and saying, hey, get out of here, punk, before I shoot you. That's the way some of these rogue thoughts are that have been running our minds and running our lives unconsciously. Stimulus response, we're acting like animals. We're created in the image of God. It's time that stops and we take control and get control of this incredible creation and use it for the glory of God by transforming, putting good seed, good thoughts, powerful thoughts, asking for better thoughts, seeking the Lord's face for greater thinking, higher level thinking. Then we're focused enough, we got control of this thing to where we can take that thought, focus, let it get big, grow, and literally we create trees in our mind. That's how the mind shows up on a brain image. These thinking patterns are like trees. So they're rooted, and they, just like a tree, they've got emotional fruit that comes off of them. It's really fantastic how we're made. But understanding this makes us better Christians. It just does. And so that's the one caveat. I made this a little bit longer than I meant to. But bless you guys. Just know you're powerful. Begin to practice a meditative process, 5, 10, even 5 minutes a day. If you just focus on your breath, in and out, in and out. Let the mind wander, but bring it back to the baseline with each breath. Bring it back to the baseline with each breath. Bring the wandering mind back. And say, no, we're going here. No, we're going here. And it's no condemnation. You don't get upset that you're not focused like a laser. No, that's the whole point. You're practicing. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. And it's phenomenal what it'll do for you and your ability to focus this incredible creation that we are. And you'll begin to change your life just from the awareness of what you find out. So bless you guys. Hope you'll do this. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.